Yeah. Well, I'm Heath Luehmann, and I'm originally from Minnesota, but I have been living in here in St. Louis for more than 20 years, and really enjoy St. Louis as, a place, a town. It's got a lot of really cool historic things about it. It's not overwhelming. I've driven around in Chicago, and I'm not a huge fan of Chicago traffic. And St. Louis is manageable. It's a good place, good history.
Anyway, our original strategy was to do some flipping. We did some just house projects around our house, and it's always good to do things to improve the value of your house. And I remember sitting with Kristen and talking, and like, hey, it'd be great if we could redo the bathroom. And if you redo the bathroom, it tends to creep throughout the house, and then you're redoing lots of other stuff. And then it's like, hey, we should redo the kitchen. And I said, I don't know that that's the best thing that we should do right now. And she's like, well, that's where all the value is in the kitchen and the bathroom. So I mean, that's what you should renovate. And I said, well, it's only worth something if you sell the house, and we're not selling it, we're still living here. So that was kind of a discussion like, well, maybe we should go scratch that itch somewhere else. Let's go flip someone else's house. Let's go do all these projects, make it look awesome, and sell it to someone else, and it actually be worthwhile. So we started doing that, and that's kind of how we got into it. And in the process of doing some flips, one was like, hey, this is a good area to be renting in, and it would be cash flowing right away. So let's try that and see if we can make that work. And that worked. So sometimes we'll flip them, and sometimes we'll rent them out, and we just kind of keep our options open no matter what.
Yeah, that's great. And now, you were very successful. You've had some things go real well for you, and probably some things that you had some little bumps with. But what would you say probably is the best deal that you've ever done? And it doesn't have to be the most money you've made, maybe just the most satisfaction. Heath, what would you say that might be for you?
Oh, the best deal with satisfaction, or the best deal where, man, because the first time you asked it, like, what's the best deal? There was one, as we were leaving the house, a realtor came up and was wanting to get this house for her clients before we even flipped it. And she was looking to demolish it and build a new house. So we had to do nothing other than help the lady move out of the house. And that was it. We've not wholesaled before, but that was like a wholesale because we literally, other than helping her clean some of her stuff out of the house, we didn't do any work to the house at all. So that was, I don't know if it was like the most satisfying though. I think we had a tiny little house in Lime that we took from, like, it was a fishing shack. Like, that's what the neighbors told us about it. And it was not livable. Like, there was a hole in the kitchen, like where the sink was, so that you'd just fall through to the basement. And so it was a lot of just rebuilding it, putting in, false walls inside the structure to kind of hold up drywall and stuff. And when we got done with it, like, it looked awesome. And so that one's almost more satisfying. It didn't make us as much money or anything, but it really took something that looked unlivable to something like, man, we would live there, if we had to, because it's in good shape.
That's a good point. You brought up a couple of them here because, yeah, some of the ones that are the easiest money, are nice, and we may consider those the best deals. But the satisfaction part, I really agree with you on that too. Sometimes, just because it's just that you've done it yourself and you made it to where you would live there, and you were able to pass that on. So that's very valuable information, Heath. So,
Yeah.
and let's go the other way then. What do you think the worst deal is that you've ever done? And what did you learn
And
from it?
yeah, so you might have to edit this one out if give
Uh,
Kristen right of refusal.
Okay.
But we actually invested in a property down in Texas, with some, a guy that we had met, and he was excited about this property. And it was a great area. It was an expensive property, but we invested money in it, and then kind of kept track of what was going on, and the building. And there were, some issues with getting permits, and then the contractor got cancer, and then there was, delays and different things. And we it almost kind of felt like there was a scheme between, the people that sold the property and the title company and the realtor, and like just some of those things didn't feel great. And then in looking at some other places, like there might have been some underhanded things going on, and we ended up losing all the money that we put into that project, which was super disappointing, because it was a bigger project, and we were excited about, being able to invest remotely. But it was definitely something we learned, like, hey, we are going to invest in things that we can touch. Like if we can't drive to it, if we can't know where it is and what we're getting into, at least if it's a building, like that's going to be so hard to control. And we felt powerless with doing anything to fix the situation too. So yeah.
That's a great point. And that I really think people should take a note of that too, because I agree with you, especially when you first start out, but you need to be able to go to the place for a little hands-on, even if you don't do the work yourself. I mean, you can help people, but you need to know what's going on. And, being in Texas, that's just kind of long distance. We hear a lot about people wanting to invest, passive investments at different places and stuff. But I've heard other stories like that. And I'm really glad you shared that with us, because that can help a lot of people, whether they're first starting out or looking to branch out. That's very, very valuable information right there. So thank you. And let me just ask you this. If you were to start out again today, Heath, what advice would you give to yourself?
Don't give up. Because I mean, there were times that I wanted to. There were times it feels like maybe somewhere around 80 to 90% of the project being done, like I just want to walk away. Like I'm just so frustrated with all the little details that have to get, whether I'm doing it or whether it's someone else. Like just like, oh my gosh, this is not right. It's got to get, because you want it to be great when it's done. And like it's not like at the beginning you're doing the demo, you're doing the rough work, like that's fun. And then in the middle of it, you're like slogging away, and it's like, I'm okay with that. And when you're done, it's awesome. But it's like somewhere around like that 80%, like I just hate it. And I'm like, I would pay you if I would not have to come back to this project. Like I just get that feeling. I haven't done it yet, but I would say that is a feeling that has come up, and just to not give up. And it some things are going to go better than you think, and some things are going to go harder. So just stick with it.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point, is persistence, right there. And I think you touched on another really good point that I've learned along the way too, that you make your plans and rarely does it go exactly like you planned. Some things are better, but there's some things that don't go exactly how you want, and you just got to adjust and continue. And that's it right there, though, is persistency, because it does seem to come out, and that's what makes makes you successful, I believe, in the long run too, just like what you said right there. So I think that's some very valuable information right there. Great advice.
Thanks.
And is there anything else you'd like to share? Is there anything you're looking for today? Are you looking for any area? Is there anything that anybody, that you are looking for? Anything you'd like to share with us besides that?
Oh, we're always looking for good opportunities. And we have a few rentals that are in Veneta Park, like in the 63114 kind of area. And we just like that little pocket, that little neighborhood. The people there have been awesome. We've walked around to different places. We know the people at the city hall. And so it just feels like, hey, if there's more opportunity there, would be great with it. I also, and we talked with Peter and some of the people down at the LESEM about getting some of the houses in the city, and we're thinking about, like, is that a possibility? Like, it'd be interesting about, trying to do some of that work as well. And I want to be more connected, excuse me, with that community. The kind of, I like being part of a community, as opposed to just like dropping in, fixing up a house and leaving. Like, I like saying, like, how is this going to be good for us doing the work, for the neighbors that have a better house, for the people selling it, or the people, that are getting rid of it, for, the city. Like, how does everyone benefit from it, instead of just us benefit from it? And if we're able to be part of one of those projects to make things better, I'd love to be part of that as well.
That's a great point right there too, Heath, because a lot of people look at it just what's in it for me, and you're looking at the bigger picture, what's in it for all of us, because we all do grow together and we make things better as we work together and network too. So, and you brought up the point about networking, because we really do. We all grow. That's the way I look at it. You create the win-win-win situation. So that's thanks for sharing that. Is there, if anybody would happen to find an opportunity in Veneta Park or any of the areas you're looking at, would you like to have them reach out to you? Is there any contact information you'd like to share with people?
Yeah. I'm Heath, Heath, at uspropertiesnow.com. You're more than welcome to send a message that way. And my wife and I love to work on different things, so that's a good thing too. And if you want to call up and just or reach out because you're looking for, like, hey, I'm stuck here, like, how do you get through it? Like, we've got some experience a couple of years behind us, and we're we're not independently wealthy or anything like that, but it has been great to work on. We've grown closer, through doing projects and getting to know each other better and everything too. And so, yeah, if you're feeling discouraged or something like that, we'd be happy to talk to you as well.
Thank you very much, Heath. I appreciate your time